What's up, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of Rams Brothers. I'm your host, Dean, and I'm joined, as always, by my brother and the other great host of this show, Nick. And Nick, the Rams are going to Chicago this weekend as underdogs, coming off of a huge win against their biggest division rival in the San Francisco 49ers. But first and most importantly, how are you, my good brother?
I'm good. I love that we're in the 10 a.m. window in Chicago. It's my favorite window to watch football. It feels like you have your whole day ahead of you after that. You don't have to wait till the 1 p.m. or even later in the day to watch. It's totally makes me nervous all day. But I like that I just get to wake up, eat breakfast, and boom, Rams football.
Yeah, you're getting 3 of the 4 NFC North teams in the first 5 weeks of the season. And then you got the Vikings, I think, are week 8 on Thursday Night Football. So a lot of NFC North football just to kick us off in this season. So hopefully the Rams are able to get back to 500 in this game against Chicago as underdogs. But before we jump into the episode, I want to make sure to mention that this episode is brought to you guys by Autograph. Autograph is the best app to be able to engage in content that is Rams related, right? If you want to kind of continuously be a fan, you want to make sure to consume content on the Autograph app, get rewarded for doing so. You can listen to podcasts, you can read articles, you can support other Rams content creators just by downloading the app and punching in our referral code RAMSBROS, RAMSBROS, and you guys will become a part of the community. Autograph is continuously growing, so we're going to have new interesting ideas that we're going to be doing through the Autograph app specifically. So make sure to get on the Autograph app, punch in our referral code, tell them we sent you, Rams Bros, and we will go from there.
Yeah, there's talks of us having like somewhat of a Discord type of deal, which is like, I don't know if people are familiar with that, but it's like you would be able to talk to us during the game. I'm always texting and on my phone throughout the game and tweeting. So it would be more of like an interaction kind of thing, but just some stuff in the air at Autograph. We love working with them and we appreciate them. So make sure you type in our referral code when you download the app, and win-win situation. But Dean brought this up before the episode started. So, and I also looked it up. The Rams have not won in Chicago since 2003, but this is the first time that we're underdogs against Chicago since before 2018. I looked it up. In 2018, when we lost to them with Goff and we only had one loss that season, we were 6-point favorites. And then we ended up scoring 6 points in that game and lost against Mitch Trubisky.
Yeah, you could thank, I was going to say Brian Flores, but that's Vic Fangio. That was the 6-1 front and ended up rearing its ugly head against the Detroit Lions a couple of weeks ago. So speaking of NFC North football, and then also, you got that obviously in the Super Bowl with Bill Belichick. Matt Patricia was a disciple of Bill Belichick. He was the coach of the Detroit Lions at the time. Vic Fangio was on his meteoric rise in terms of one of the best defensive minds in football. Sean McVay was trying to replicate that in as many ways as he possibly could. With Brandon Staley, you saw that in 2020. So it's an interesting dynamic. And now, they're underdogs. They're 3-point underdogs to the Chicago Bears, the 1-2 Chicago Bears. If you want them on the money line, it's plus 126. Over-under total is 41. I originally thought we were going to get some rain in this game, but it looks like the forecast is going to be pretty clear in Chicago for Sunday. It's going to be nice, perfect football weather, 72 degrees. So you could expect the Rams to score some points. You'd expect Caleb Williams, who threw for 2 touchdowns, also threw 2 picks and 364 yards in the last game, to score some points. I think that over bet may be one that's pretty enticing for me.
Yeah, to me, it's the Rams on the money line. I 2 things, just 2 basic things when you're betting on football: the better head coach and the better quarterback. And I think we have both right now. Eberflus, I think, is on his way out. The coaching decisions from him have been baffling this season, just so rudimentary. And they're blowing Caleb's first year. So, I mean, I feel really good going into this game, to be honest with you, especially with just Stafford knowing Chicago really well from his years in that division. His record playing in Chicago isn't that great overall. But, yeah, I mean, I like the Rams just outright, to be honest with you.
Seems like they're doing everything they can to make Caleb Williams' life more complicated. They're giving him a lot of pre-snap reads. You got to be able to read defenses who are consistently moving safeties. They're moving things on the back end, bringing various different fronts to be able to confuse the quarterback specifically. Giving him a ton of responsibilities. Haven't had Keenan Allen. You got DJ Moore and Rome Odunze, Cole Kmet. But the way that they're handling the run game is just terrible. What they're going through with DeAndre Swift, and now they're going to put I think what's the name of the running back, Roshan Stevenson, that they're going to put in favor of DeAndre Swift, Roshan Johnson rather. So I just wanted to give you guys a side by side look. Jeremy Fowler's expecting the Bears to give Roshan Johnson an extended look this Sunday against the Rams. This is on the right-hand side of your screen. You're looking at the average yards per attempt for DeAndre Swift. It's all the way down at 1.8 yards per carry this year with Chicago. It's been above 4 yards for the first 4 years of his career. So the way that they're utilizing a running back who's really good on stretch plays, on outside zone, as a pass catcher in the backfield, giving him a lot of draws, a lot of between the tackle stuff, seems like a really confusing approach. So it seems like they're doing everything they can to not help the quarterback in his rookie year.
Just straight up, their offensive line is bad. It's really hard to operate, especially when you're a new quarterback, if your offensive line is bad. And if you're a running back too, it's really hard. But they spent all this money on Swift. They could have paid an extra $3-4 million to get Saquon Barkley, who right now is the top of the class, in my opinion, of running backs. And it's week 4, and you're already thinking of moving on from Swift. So I just think, as an organization, they are not run well. They are hoping that Caleb can kind of just come in with what they already have established, which is a good defense, which is what they always have, and just do enough to get them over the hump. And I think Eberflus is just making it more difficult than it has to be for Caleb Williams.
It's a good way to help your quarterback, right? Good play design, good talent up front, which you got Coleman Shelton snapping the ball, which Rams fans are very familiar with, not identifying anything pre-snap. You got 2 tackles who are not playing well. And you got a running back that they can't seem to figure out how to scheme up the run in favor of the player, in favor of the personnel. So it seems like it's just a kind of a mess in Chicago, but they still are able to get a win, first game of the season. They've been playing some pretty decent football from a defensive perspective over the past couple of weeks. And we're going to jump into all that. But just some stuff top line. Sean McVay is 1 win away from tying John Robinson for most all-time wins as the Rams' head coach. So he's going to be highly motivated. He has already surpassed Chuck Knox. So John Robinson's at 79, McVay's at 78, Chuck Knox is at 72. You see Mike Martz and some other familiar faces on this list. So Sean McVay is going to be highly motivated coming out of a huge win against his division rival in the San Francisco 49ers, where he just sunned Kyle Shanahan, put his hand on his head and said, "Good job, buddy. Maybe you get him next time."
Full LeBron Kyrie moment right there.
Yeah, and the Rams are progressively getting more healthy. So you got both of the starting tackles are back. Alaric Jackson's back. Rob Havenstein's back. Bo Limmer's playing really well in the middle. Kyron Williams has a touchdown run that's pretty remarkable. I was looking at the numbers compared to Steven Jackson and Eric Dickerson and Marshall Faulk in their first however many games in terms of a sample size. Kyron Williams is right up there in terms of touchdown scorers. Seems like they're going to continue to ride the hot hand, especially against the secondary that's playing really well. You got to be able to establish the run and win up front. And the injuries, the way it looks right now. So Steve Avila, this is when everybody's eligible to return. So Steve Avila, week 7, Jonah Jackson, week 8, John Johnson, week 8, Darion Kendrick's out for the year, and so is Trey Tomlinson. But Connor McDermott is eligible to return week 5. So he could be some pretty solid depth against the Green Bay Packers at offensive line, specifically tackle. Puka Nacua is eligible to come back week 7. Same with Joe Noteboom. Darius Williams is eligible to come back week 5 against the Packers, which would be massive. They haven't activated his 21-day window yet, but I'm hoping that soon. And then same with KT Levinston. So the Rams are progressively getting more healthy. It seems like they got some good mojo on their side coming off a big win. Are you in favor of, you already mentioned the money line, but are you confident in this team potentially getting a win in Chicago?
There are things that I worry about, obviously. The defense and the run game. Everything that we're seeing is the Chicago Bears don't have a run game. The Rams, who have been bad against the run game, are getting a break here. But Caleb Williams is Kyler Murray-esque, where, if it's 3rd and 9 and he picks up that first down and they keep doing that all the way down the field, that's something I worry about. And Chicago's defense is very good, like super formidable, keeping them in these games against the Texans and the Colts, when really they had opportunities to put both of those teams away, and they weren't able to do so because the defense was so good. So that's where when you said, "Oh, I'm loving this over," I'm kind of not loving the over either. I think it's going to be a tale of two defenses. And if Stafford and these young receivers can and Kyron overcome that, because right now I don't trust the Bears offense to really kill us. So if it's high scoring, I give the edge to us. If it's a close game, I think maybe Chicago gets the edge. But either way, I think we come out on top.
Yeah, and
I
no,
don't
all
see
good
a world
points.
where we lose, where McVay loses to Eberflus, to be honest with you.
all good points. And I think that, if you're going to take any betting advice, you take it from Nick and not from me. But also, one of the major reasons why the Bears are struggling is because they're constantly behind the sticks. It's 64% of Chicago's set of downs have reached third down, which is the highest rate in the league, which is another reason why Caleb Williams is struggling. And the league average is only 47%. So a lot of this is based around their bottom two run game, which we talked about. But Caleb plays into this as well. They're asking him to do too much. The offensive line has allowed second most sacks, fifth most pressures. It's disrupting Caleb Williams' timing. Shane Waldron, who was a Sean McVay disciple, likes to call a lot of long developing passing concepts. So this is a good look at where both teams are head to head. In terms of points per game, the Rams have the edge. They're at 19 versus 17.7. So this is where the over-under sets, right? This is where you set it at 40 because that's the average of points. So it makes sense there. The passing game, the Rams have the edge. They're seventh in passing yards per game. Caleb Williams is only at 210 yards per game, coming off of a 350-plus passing yard game. Rushing yards per game, they're both bottom five teams, but the Rams are getting the ball in the end zone when they are running the ball, and they're staying consistent with it. You saw it in the second half of the San Francisco game. Defensive sacks, the Rams are not getting home, so that's a major point of emphasis. Obviously, the pressures are great. You love what you're getting from Fisk and Verse, but being able to finish the job is extremely important. And then also defensive turnovers, defensive interceptions. Bears, their secondary is fifth with 4, and the Rams only have 1 so far. So I think these are all really important points, right? Because the Bears secondary, their big talking point is Bears corners and safeties have allowed just 30 catches, which is 4th least in the NFL, and 363 passing yards across 3 games, which is the 9th least in the NFL. So the Bears' secondary is going to be able to challenge the Rams as much as humanly possible. So I think that's, something to kind of tee up for some of these younger receivers who don't get a ton of targets. Matthew Stafford's going to spray the ball around. It doesn't matter which wide receiver's on the field. He's going to be able to complete some passes and move the football. But I do think this secondary is definitely formidable, to your point, and it's not going to be as easy as a matchup as it looks like on paper.
You want to be in the situation where Matthew Stafford's dropping back and you just completely trust him. And I think I haven't felt that this year yet because there's just been so much, tomfoolery going around. But last week, I think we got to that point, particularly after the bomb to Tutu Atwell, who it just you're not expecting that guy to come in and grab that catch.
Yeah, but he's got time too. He's got time to drop back. He's got time to go through his progressions, and it's a lot of credit to the offensive tackles and Alec Jackson and Rob Havenstein and shutting down Nick Bosa and Javon Hargrave getting banged up, and Leonard Floyd even, who's a former Ram. Like those guys were pretty damn quiet. So the Bears don't have the same kind of pass rush threats.
I think I'm trusting Stafford in this game. I think a bet on the Rams is just a bet on him being able to tear down this secondary, even if they're going to do it slow. I'm not sure how much of a run game we'll have. I think probably Stafford over passing attempts would be a good bet just because the Bears D is good at stopping the run. So it should be a Stafford game.
Yeah, and same with Caleb. I think a good bet would be taking the over on pass attempts. 52 pass attempts in the last game, 4 sacks taken. Romo Dunze was the main target, who I know a lot of Rams fans like to talk about in the offseason, and we certainly did. And Keenan Allen's coming back in this game too. So potential security blanket for some of the quick passing concepts, a savvy veteran who can, help Caleb, make his progressions a little bit more simplified. Play the middle of the field and be able to kind of pick up some yards after the catch, which is Keenan Allen's specialty when the other 2 guys are field stretchers. But another major point of emphasis that I wanted to focus on in this game, which I think is so fascinating, is the way that the Rams have handled their run defense, right? And I think it's just being able to come up with various fronts, as we've talked about. We were talking about the Brian Flores defense rather, and how they approach things. And this is from Jordan. The other thing that the Rams are currently doing for their run D and will continue to do throughout this season is try out different combinations with their interior defensive line, including rotating Kobe Turner and Bobby Brown at nose tackle, plus Neville Gallimore got more interior defensive line snaps. So the combinations are a game-by-game thing. And I think you're going to see a lot more of this. And this is a pretty good visual of what it's looking like. Byron Young, Bobby Brown, Kobe Turner, and Braden Fisk, and Jared Verse up front. So you got a strong 5 that are up front. And then another variation, you got Michael Hoyt and Jared Verse in the wide 9. You got Bobby Brown, Tyler Davis, and Neville Gallimore in the middle to give Kobe Turner some time off. So I think they're going to continue with the progression of being able to stop the run. So if you emphasize that and you make this team one-dimensional, you make Caleb Williams throw the ball 52 times, that could result in a couple massive turnovers and not a lot of time of possession and an opportunity to win the game late.
Yeah, the Bears have like beaten themselves than like lost to these other, teams that they've been playing. So it's going after the rookie quarterback. I agree. It's like letting him do his thing. He hasn't hit anybody long bomb all season, maybe holding like a safety just even further back as he's just been like overthrowing his guys.
Yeah.
It's like 30 plus yards. It's baffling to me that they're going to, as an organization, have these long developing pass plays when he is fresh out of the gate. You want him to be comfortable. You want him to, figure out what he's good at in the NFL and get there and not have things be too complicated for him, have a slowed down offense. And they're not doing that. They're treating him like he's, like
still at USC.
Yeah, exactly. It's like, no, everything is faster. Everything is moving quicker. These guys are grown men. It's not SC anymore.
And I think they're catching the Bears at a really good time where like Caleb Williams hasn't quite figured it out yet. The offensive line hasn't quite figured it out yet. And the Rams are increasing their pressure rates. And some of it is organically and some of it is designed. But Jordan also alluded to this to add more context to the next gen stats that we're going to look at. The Rams are getting pressure at a 38.9% rate, which is 7th highest in the NFL right now. But their 4 sacks are tied for 3rd to last. So cleaning up the complement in the rush, particularly against a quarterback who can throw on the run, will fix a lot. And you got a lot of that from Kyler Murray. You got a ton of practice with Brock Purdy. So now it's time to kind of finish the job with Caleb Williams before you got to go see Jordan Love next week at home. But Braden Fisk and Jared Verse, this is rookie pressure leaders through 3 weeks. Braden Fisk is at the top of this. Braden Fisk has 12 pressures. Jared Verse has 11. Leatu Latu has 10. Marshawn Kneeland has 6. And Byron Murphy, the second, only has 5, who Seahawks fans are anointing the next Aaron Donald, which is just not the case. But you got this young front. Byron Young's playing really well. So is Kobe Turner. You're coming up with these various defensive fronts to not only be able to stop the run, but organically and also to be able to design some of those blitzes to be able to rush the passer, get him off of his mark, to have the pocket collapse, and to be able to get him off of his spot. So sometimes just finishing the job is not, entirely what needs to be done. If you can cause pressure, you get your hands up, you cause an errant throw, you cause an interception, that's just as good as getting a sack. So
yeah,
I think they're making strides there. I think they're going to be good this week.
I would like to play a Kirk Cousins just so these guys can really get, a stationary quarterback.
We got Jared Goff in week 1.
Yeah, but it was still really early. And they got home to him a couple times, but they weren't really able to knock him out like I want them to. And also, Goff is draft mode. He won the game last week against the Cardinals by picking up the first down with his legs, which I knew was going to happen. So,
yeah, I'm going to do some quick keys. You ready for them?
Yeah, show them.
3 needed to advance. All right, the first one is the defense, right? If the defensive front can continuously stop the run with some of those fronts that they implemented, Neville Gallimore, Bobby Brown, even Tyler Davis, who I loved. Every single snap that Tyler Davis took against the San Francisco 49ers was meaningful. I thought the linebackers played well, especially against the run in the second half of that game. If you can continuously stop the run, hold running backs to less than 3 yards per carry, make this team one-dimensional, I think they're going to have a real shot. Second key, you got to keep involving Tutu Atwell. He's a field stretcher. He makes the defense work a little bit harder. He can carry attention from, one spot of the field over into his direction, and it opens up the other half of the field because you split the field in half in a lot of these play concepts to be able to find other players like Tyler Davis, like Demarcus Robinson. You get Kyron going, so you keep the defense on their heels. It all kind of works in one perfect harmony when you got it all running appropriately. So more implementation of Tutu Atwell. Defensive front needs to be strong. And then also, how about Joshua Carty being nails again? we're going to need Joshua Carter to be able to execute in the red zone if we can't finish the job. And I just think he's the guy. He's the future kicker of the Rams.
I liked everything that I heard from him outside of what he said going into like talking about pressure. When we tied the game 24-24, he said, I actually felt like I had more pressure on that extra point than I did the follow-up field goal. And I was like, I don't want to hear you have any pressure on extra points. I want us to just be like,
it's like that's like in golf where you have a short, easy chip shot versus you're on the tee box, right? Because you're on the tee box, that's like kicking a 37-yarder because you're hitting a bomb or whatever, 40 plus, 50 plus. But then the chip shot is like the extra point where there shouldn't be that much pressure, but sometimes you flub it and you mess up your whole hole. So, yeah, I mean, that's
also just, can you flash Dean's keys again real quick for me? Banana from Donkey Kong 64, which the Travis Kelce brothers talked about on their latest podcasts about how their mom like beat the entire game on like a Christmas vacation one time.
Yeah, what a legend.
I was like, that is the coolest story ever.
What a legend. Yeah, the Kelce brothers, the Vesky brothers, not too far apart in terms of love for Donkey Kong 64. I think I'm ready for Nick's picks of the week, though.
Let's do it.
You got a last second prediction you want to make for the Rams before we jump into Nick's picks, or you got to dug in the picks?
I don't have the Rams in my picks, so I'll just do a quick prediction here. I think we win. I would say it's like 17-13 final score, Rams.
Okay. All right. I'll take a win. Take a win however I can get it. I think they're a little bit closer to the over-under of 40, but I still think
maybe.
And get back to 500. That's the goal. Get to 500, and then you got a home game against the banged-up Jordan Love and the Green Bay Packers, who are playing really good football. So if you split between these two teams, I think you're in a good spot. I love that Matt LaFleur. He's a great, hell of a coach. All right, Nick's picks. You ready?
I'm ready.
All right, let's do it. You got a special song for us this week?
I do. Nick's picks are back in the win column. How about it? We had a great week. I wasn't shocked at all. The Saints kind of made me a little mad because they had so many opportunities to put that game away, but that's fine. We had a winning week. Our first winning week, bringing our totals of the season to 7 wins, 8 losses. So we're right on the cusp of greatness. Dean's locks, 0-3, not looking good.
That's why we call it Nick's picks, and we're not focused on Dean's locks. Dean's got the keys. He does not have the locks.
Yeah, Dean's looking like Trevor Lawrence out there. But before we start talking about Trevor Lawrence and the Jags, I got word from Autograph that we are allowed to bring back the theme songs. So let's hear it. Let's hear the new theme.
Say his name and he appears. I believe in Nick's picks. I believe in Nick's picks. Cause I love him in London and Paris and Tokyo, American Scotland and Canada and definitely Brazil. They say I believe in Nick's picks. I believe in Nick's picks.
Oh, that's got to be the best one ever.
Yeah, I know.
I don't even know what the parody was there, but that's just that'll be stuck in my head. I'm adding that right to my Apple Music.
I know. I believe in Joe Henley. It's a great song. I don't even know who Joe Henley is. It's like blowing up on TikTok right now. I think he's a wrestler. I'm not positive. It doesn't matter. The song is so catchy. So speaking of 0-3 and Dean's locks being 0-3 and Trevor Lawrence, we're going to go right into Jags at Texans. The Jags, man. What are we doing? I bet on 3 teams over, like season total wins over the Rams, the Panthers, and the Jags. And every single one of those teams went 0-2 to start the season, just to show you how good of a gambler I am. But thank God the Panthers and the Rams were able to get out of that hole. The Jags, on the other hand, what have they become? They had really good odds to start the season to be a contender, higher than the Rams, on par with the Packers. I just don't really know what they're doing. Dougie P is coaching for his career at this point, not his job, his career. If Dougie can't get out of this hole, I think this is the last head coaching opportunity that he gets. Who else would give him a chance? You have the pieces right now at the Jags. You go out there and you make it work just on a baseline level. When a team gets blown out, I like them the following week. I mean, look at the Rams. We got blown out, and then we won outright. Also, the Browns, week 1, they got blown out by the Cowboys, and they win outright the following week against the Jaguars. I don't want to see the Texans just run away with this division because, spoiler alert, I don't really think they're that good. They're kind of barely escaping the Bears and the Colts with wins, and then they lose to the Vikings last week with an opportunity to kind of put their foot down, and they really couldn't.
The almighty Vikings.
Yeah. Jags right now, I think it's now or never. I think it's a kitchen sink game for them. You cannot go 0-4, especially after getting humiliated on Monday night. Give me the Jags +6 over the Texans. Let's get after it. Texans 26, Jags 27. I think the Jags win outright. I think it's too close. I don't want to bet on the outright. Just give me the +6 and we'll be happy.
All right, we got Jags +6. What do you got next? I don't disagree. I think the Texans are, they lost Joe Mixon. You lost a couple of talented players. So, I mean, you struggle a little bit. And Jags, just like you said, kitchen sink game. They got to do it for Dougie P. If not, they're going to fire Dougie P and win the game where they hire the interim coach.
Yeah, that always happens. I can't believe somebody would be fired after 4 weeks, but he would be.
No, I don't think they will. We'll see.
Vikings at Green Bay. You're giving me a chance to bet on the red-hot Vikings right now against the Packers team that is really holding it together with strings. So, I mean, kudos to them, but let me pounce. In fact, I'm going to double pounce. Thank you. Give me the Vikes, the Flores defense, the Sam Darnold experience with a great offensive coach, Justin Jefferson making plays unlike anybody else. To me, they passed the sniff test. Is that a phrase?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Doesn't matter. I think they're real. They're Pinocchioing it out there around town. I'm Giuseppe, or what's his name? Geppetto, whatever. I'm Tom Hanks in this Disney Plus original, and I'll watch them from afar and root for them inside Monstro because I think they really deserve all the love that they've had over these last couple of weeks. They're not out there stomping on poor teams. They're winning convincingly against contenders. San Francisco and the Texans are both very big favorites in their divisions. Green Bay, I mean, Love might start. I'm not going to count on it. I don't think he is. I'll put the chances of that on 25%. I don't really care if he does. I think they hold whoever to very, very small amount of points. I just hate the fact that the Packers are probably going to hold Love one more week against, and so he plays against us, which is just annoying that that's going to happen. But whatever, Love or not, I'm taking the Vikings outright. I think the line reflects that Vegas respects the Vikings. It's an away game, so the Vikings are sitting at +3. I think that's just old school football knowledge right there. Give me Vikings outright money line. Not even +3. I see it on the screen. No. Oh, yeah. Vikings went outright. You have both of them on there. 11-25. I think the Vikings win easily. I think they hold the Packers to 11 points, which is why I'm also taking the under.
Interesting. 11. 25-11 is your final score. How do you come up with these scoregamis?
I was right up here.
What do you got next?
Eagles at Bucks. It's a revenge game for the Birds. Say what you want about the horrible coaching job of Nick Sirianni, and believe me, you could say quite a bit. You could say a lot about it. However, the Eagles have Saquon Barkley, and for me, that is enough for me to be on them. Behind the Eagles, good O-line. You have a proven the best back in the league, in my opinion. And on the other foot, it was a good start to the season, but I'm not loving what I'm seeing from the Bucks. They held off the Lions, but that was more of a Lions loss than it felt like a Bucks victory. Eagles went into the Saints Dome last week, walked away, looking like the better team. And I think they're going to continue this trend against a weaker division in the NFC South. I am a profound Eagles hater, unfortunately. It's how I was raised. There's nothing to do about it. I'm not going to sit here and act like they're not a good team and that you can't make money off them, because you can. Because if this Eagles team was helmed by McVay or Shanahan or Harbaugh, I think that they are Super Bowl favorites. But until then, they got Sirianni, who is going to a local Haddonfield brewery on the weekends, which is baffling to me. I just don't trust that guy at all. But I think he can outcoach the Bucks this week. So, I'm just going to take Eagles money line straight up. 21-17, Eagles victory.
Probably good value on that, considering both Devonta Smith and AJ Brown are likely to miss the game. So that's going to be tough.
It doesn't matter to me. You got Saquon and you got Hurts, who's like discovered that he can pick up first downs with his legs again, which I feel like he forgot last year.
I think that's fair. All right, let's run it back. Let's do it.
Jags +6, Vikings money line, under 43.5 in Vikings Packers, Eagles money line, and then my quick pick. I think they're the best team in the NFL. Bills on Sunday night +3. I don't know how they're dogs. The Ravens are 1-2. Don't be fooled by the idea that Ravens are home and they can't go 1-3. They absolutely can. I just placed a wager on the Bills to win the Super Bowl. I think they're the most complete team, and I love everything I'm seeing for them. So that may be my favorite bet is Bills +3.
That's what they tend to do early on in the season, and then they start to fade towards the end. But I'm hopeful as well. I'd like to see Bills fans get a Super Bowl, much more than I would like to see any other team get a Super Bowl outside of the Rams.
Yeah, Bills and Lions, I think would be a really fun one, but we'll see. We'll probably be Chiefs and Eagles or something like that.
Yeah, I love it. Well, make sure that you guys are liking and subscribing before you go. We appreciate you guys. We're going to be here throughout the long run. We're not going anywhere. Give us critiques, sound off in the comments. Let us know what you're thinking about the pod. And as always, go Rams.
Go Rams. Go eat some lunch. Talk to your kids. Talk to your parents. Love you.